Come and dream with me.
Hello, welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every week we get together to talk about movies, TV, and online content and help you answer the question, is Conclave now a tradition every time a pope... Is watching Conclave a tradition every time a pope dies? I think it is. I'm your host, Ashley Elbley. Joining me today, Dylan Blatt.
I know what you did last summer, Ashley.
What do you mean?
Don't you? Wouldn't you like to know?
I've never met the Pope, unlike a certain American vice president. I'm not responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you didn't see, rentals or viewership of Conclave went up massively post the Pope dying, as well as the I think it's a film, Two Popes.
Yeah, the with Jude Law and Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah, or no,
it's a miniseries, I think.
Yeah, something like that. Isn't it the one where the new Pope, or Benedict, and the one who retired
have conversations, have little chit chats? Yeah.
I even saw that Conclave had come back to some cinemas this past week.
Wow. It's wild for several reasons, because a lot of people are probably going, man, what happens now that Pope's dead? And then they're like, man, Conclave does a really good job of explaining how the voting for new Pope works. And it's like, it does. But then I also imagine older people sitting there watching the last 10 minutes of that movie going, what the fuck?
Fuck.
Anyway, watch Conclave. It's great.
Yeah. It's like, if you didn't watch it ahead of the Academy Awards, despite it being a a big contender, watch it now. On today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history, going over some film news, giving some thumbs to trailers, and giving you this week's top 3. Kicking things off over on Holocron Entries, our Star Wars podcast. We've started talking about Andor Season 2. The first 3 episodes dropped all at once, and unfortunately, 3 episodes are dropping every single week until all 12 episodes are gone. It's a mixed bag, because it's great to get all this good Star Wars content, but we're going to go through it too quickly. Dylan, what are your thoughts on Season 2 so far of Andor?
Yes, I hate the 3 episodes a week schedule. It's terrible. I wish they didn't do it. It's a dumb choice. I have no.
But also, when you finish that first episode, you're like, "Oh, I need more," and it was there. How'd you feel?
I would have been happy to wait.
Bullshit.
I'm happy to wait. I'm happy to take a good thing a week at a time.
Okay. I mean, you have the choice.
No, I don't, because we got to record a podcast every week, so I don't have a choice.
I mean, we could just
No, we cannot.
Been very late.
No, we can. A day late's $1 short. You know what I mean? But no, the show's fantastic. Obviously, Andor Season 1, Explosion Network's TV show of the year, 2023.
2?
2? Yeah, 22 even, actually. Probably sounds right. It's not only just the best Star Wars show, it was just the best show on TV that year, we decided, and it's a very, very good show. And so far, this is off to the same level of quality of just writing and themes, and actually having ideas and sticking to very strong opinions within the Star Wars ideology. They're like, these bad guys are Nazis and they're bad. It sounds simple to say, but so much Star Wars stuff just seems to sway away from the basics of the universe. And hey, these Nazis, they're bad guys. This thing over the rebels, stand up for what you believe in. Multiculturalism's good. Slave labor bad. I don't know. All these. People in power will use that to sometimes try and sexually abuse people. Bad. I don't know. Good show.
Yeah, really fantastic. A really, again, really interesting look at the universe of Star Wars, and getting into corners that none of the other content has gone into before. This is definitely the most adult Star Wars thing that's been released, going into very dark places and implying very dark things, but then also having very grown up discussions and plots and plans. There's they're planning this manipulation, or to pretty much steal a bunch of land from this native these native inhabitants and that kind of stuff, and so much so many elements of this are kind of mirroring the real world, and like because we know this was like written ages ago, it's like yet it's still crazy relevant right now. Even like Tony Gilroy knew it was coming.
The thing is about that, I know I've seen people making comparisons, and like it's crazy, it's so relevant stuff. But if a lot of people, bringing up like Ukraine as a comparison, right, for some of the themes and stuff, and it's like Ukraine is very relevant on our minds, relevantly, as is Gaza, right? Really relevant currently, very heavily featured in the media, more so than probably ever has been. However, both things that have been going on for ages.
Yes.
Just not as loud and in the public eye, for better and or worse. So I think it is that thing of like, yes, it's really relevant, and Tony Gilroy wrote it a while ago and whatever else, but these ideas are...
That's true. I was even thinking, obviously there's the Empire is coming down and like checking who's actual residents or citizens of a country and not they're working there illegally and that kind of stuff, and that feels very topical, but has also been around for a very long time as an issue.
Yep,
so,
but very, very much like America.
What is old becomes new again, as they also say in these episodes.
There was a scene in episode 2 where they're like, "I see you have a tattoo that says Mum and Dad, but they probably are gang signs, so we're going to take you out of this.
We're going to send you to,
we're going to send you to Coruscant's worst jail."
What was the? Nah.
Oh no, that we're going to send you to that ship that they break out of in the Mandalorian, where they're all the
Nakina 5, whatever the planet is from the last season. So Andor, it's fantastic. Watch it now. Enjoy it. I mean, it's fun having like a 2.5 hour, 3 hour Star Wars movie every single week. And it's clearly being told with 3 episode arcs in mind.
3 episode arcs, same as the first season. That's fine. I get it. 3 episodes arcs. Let's release them one go. But each episode has enough meat on its bone to let it taste it and enjoy that. And again, yes, you're like, yes, Dylan, you could, but watch one episode. Yes, but I don't. I can't. We record the podcast. We're gonna do the thing. I'm gonna watch them all. I'll be honest. If we weren't, and I lived a life of luxury, that's a weird thing to say. If I lived a life away from non-podcasting, away from the internet, on a hill in peace, I'd be watching this 1 episode a week. I would force myself. I'd savor this like a good pack of 4 Magnums in my fridge. You know what I mean? I'm not going to gorge on those in one night.
Okay. We're not sponsored by Magnum ice creams.
I wish we were, because they do lactose-free ice creams. And
okay, that makes sense. I'm like, yeah. I also saw you had like a completely off topic. Like you posted on social media, like you're having pancakes with ice cream the other day. I'm like, oh.
Kieran's like, really? Where should we go? Where should we go for lunch? And I'm like, I'm trying to look. And we walk through Melbourne Central. I'm like, how about we go for pancakes? Because they do plant cakes up here with vegan ice cream and everything. Like he's like, okay, I guess we can go for that then. So I more or less forced Kieran's hand on that one because I'm in Melbourne. Let me have things I can't usually have. But plant
like
cakes.
Vegan food.
Ash. Yeah, plant cakes.
What?
Like plant-based yeast, flour and whatever. No, I don't know if it has yeast on.
Just what's the thing everybody can't have?
I don't know, gluten. No,
that's it. No gluten.
Yeah, they taste fucking good though. I'll tell you what.
I mean,
no complaints.
It wouldn't be stand up as if they didn't. A restaurant
look good, didn't it?
He did
look good. Yeah, see,
it's the king.
You should it's all right. Kieran had enough. He looks at me with his plate of fucking massive ice cream and whatever the hell else he's got in his. Don't worry, Dylan. I'll have enough ice cream for the both of us. He's got.
I'll have enough dairy.
Yeah, he's back on that.
Almost got it by osmosis. Anyway, all right. While you're also in Melbourne, you went to check out the new release of the week, the adaptation of a big PlayStation property, Until Dawn. Obviously, there's been a lot of success with video game adaptations lately. We're deep into the second season of Last of Us, critically acclaimed. Minecraft is making a bunch of money in the cinemas. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was one of the biggest movies at the end of last year. How does Until Dawn stack up
It's okay.
Mm.
It is a bit of a mixed bag that I think could have been a lot better by just a couple different choices in the script, or choosing to go down a particularly, or just doing a slightly different direction. So, look, this is not a direct adaptation by any means of the video game. It takes like the core, some of the ideas and characters and stuff from the video game, and changes its own thing. In the game, you're a bunch of teen characters or young adult, I guess young adult characters. They're like early 20s, whatever, I think. Same story here. Group of them arrive at a place, don't know what's going on. Same thing here. But where it changes is that in this, they're like, yep, well, let's take the video game mechanics and turn it into an actual movie thing where once they get to this area, they're sort of trapped there, and they quickly realize that every time they die, they come back to life. Like, so they all keep dying, they keep coming back to life. But they have a number, sort of. There's a book in this place that has because they're looking for one of the characters' sisters there. Her name's written there like 13 times. Bunch of people's names written there 13 times. So they know they can die like 13 times. That's the no one's name's written any more than 13 times. That seems to be the amount. So they do have an end name here. Now, it's not Groundhog Day, because every time they die, they don't come back. It's exactly the same. That isn't what's happening. They just come back. They come back, but it's not the same thing happening every time. There are different creatures, different ways they all keep dying. Really, it's just it's a sort of good horror mechanic, because you get to kill the same characters over and in different inventive ways as you go through it, which does lead to some good horror fun. I was talking about this on Arcade Couch a little bit, which was because Kieran, obviously, I watch a lot of horror movies. I'm sitting there like, whatever, I'm just watching it. There's a scene, and I'm going to repeat myself a little bit if you listen to Arcade Couch, but there's a scene where a character's leg gets blown off, right? I'm not going super spoiler, but the leg gets blown off. It's pretty gory or whatever. I'm sitting there going, that's pretty good special effect. Like, that's how my brain's processing the scene, going, there's really good practical effect they're doing there. Like, I can tell it's done with makeup and stuff. Like, it's looking good. That's how my brain's reacting to the scene. Kieran, I hear next to me, ugh, fuck. Like, it's just very different reactions to how the scene's playing out, which I thought was fun. There's a couple, and then as much as like he didn't love the movie either, and mainly for story reasons, which I'll get into in a second. But I'll say, as someone who obviously goes to the cinema 99% of the time by myself throughout the year, watching a horror movie for the first time in a very, 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 very long time. I can't remember actually seeing a horror movie in the cinemas with somebody else that I've gone with. I don't remember. Honestly, I do not remember the last time I saw like a horror movie with someone I know in the cinemas. Just doesn't happen, right? It was fun for me to have him sitting next to me and getting to hear someone who doesn't watch a lot of horror movies react to things as they happen. Just lots of, ugh, why would you do that? Fucking idiots. Idiots. Fuck it. Ugh. Yuck. Ugh. Fuck it. Like, like just all these like whispers and stuff. I would like... So that was honestly bringing me more enjoyment than the movie. Maybe. I don't know.
Right.
Just hearing.
Yeah, because if it was a good movie, you'd be like, shut the fuck up.
I think horror movies is something where, like, if someone's like reaction to like a scares or something's like a quick, like, if the whole crowd just yelled "fuck" like at the same time or whatever, it's like that's part of the that's part of the thing. I don't mind that. Yeah, story wise, here's the problem. The movie, and the interesting thing is that Kieran started bringing this up without me bringing it up, and I'm like, I had the exact same thought. So we both sort of saw something early in the movie that the movie did not play on, which is that the first time the characters die, it appears that one of the characters is looking at another one and going, how dare you not like sort of help me? They're watching him more or less get killed by the clown killer in the first death scene. And then when they come back to life, I was like, oh, and Kieran was thinking the same thing he said, which is, oh, they're going to like sort of have this like, why didn't you help me? Maybe they'll cause a bit more friction. Maybe, and as the movie continued, it was missing that like friction between them. There wasn't enough like psychological, like,
it sounded like there was no ramifications for dying.
Yeah, not really. They do like one part towards the end where they jump ahead and they're like, oh, we keep forgetting that we've died more times and some weird thing, and they have a little bit of friction between some of the characters and one of the other boyfriends, but like even that's not a lot. Yeah, look, the movie was a bit of fun. I think either they should have gone in that direction to make the story more interesting, or honestly go in the complete other direction and just make it more campy and like just write it down more of a horror comedy route, I think you could have, if you wanted to, you could have gone that direction. I think they just tried to sit in the middle too much, and you should have just lent further into one way or another. But I will say, the special effects, the kills, there was some good, there was some like for horror fans, there was some good horror special effects and scares and some generally good kills in here. And I guess the other thing is they get to kill the same characters several times, so they get to play around with how they kill the characters. So that was sort of fun. By the end of it, it teases the potential of another one, I'll say, but depends on obviously how much this makes at the box office.
Yeah. Don't think it's done too well. I haven't seen any numbers or heard too much.
I went to this week.
I don't think it's been well received. Would you be interested in playing a game on this version of Until Dawn?
No. And I'll say this, I also didn't, I think Until Dawn, I know I was sort of, like, I think Until Dawn's fine as a game, but I mean, when it came out and I played it, I was like, yeah, that was sort of fun, but I was never one of those people who were like, oh my God, this is the future of narrative and video games, sort of thing. Like, I played it once, it was fine, I enjoyed it, but
I mean, it's probably because it was kind of first in that,
yeah,
the narrative horror, choose your own adventure kind of thing. Yeah.
I'll tell you after. Remind me to tell you after we finish recording how it attempts to set up a sequel, because it's wild.
Okay. I saw that you caught up on watching The Rehearsal, which I thought was very amusing when you were about to get on an airplane. What did you think of the first episode?
I biscuited out. So I watched the first episode. Very good. No complaints. It's you can't explain it. You attempted to last week. I don't know if I can even try. It's absolute nonsense, but in a good way. But obviously the main thing is he's following these characters, which I'm still yet the main pilot he's following to understand how he talks to people in his life, and if the cause of a lot of plane crashes is caused by a captain and their first mate, or whatever they're called.
Yep.
Having a miscommunication, not being able to get along with each other. Now we're following that, which leads up to a really like cringy moment at the end, which I'm sure you handled well, between him and his girlfriend. Here's my problem after the first season. I have doubts everywhere. I'm not sure if this is a rehearsal for the real captain or it. Like, I'm not sure currently. If it and my problem is, you do a show like The Rehearsal and then you bring me in for season 2, I'm gonna have trust issues. You know what I mean? Like, I'm watching it, I'm taking it, I'm enjoying it. I'm also waiting for the rug to be pulled out at me at any time and be like, and that was all a rehearsal. So now I'm gonna do the real captain. You know what I mean? Because that girlfriend and everything, it just seemed weird. It seemed way too kooky to be.
It's like, what are the odds?
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll fucking see. But I will say, I'm sitting in the airport waiting to catch my flight from here to Melbourne the other day, and I did catch the captain and the first mate walking and talking together to the gate, and then went through. And I'm sitting there watching it, going, just an American problem, then, isn't it? Like,
yeah.
They seem fine.
They seem fine. That's the
chatty.
problem I would say is that was pointed out is that they don't work together often. It seems like they randomly just assign 2 random people together.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how it makes it out. I'll tell you what, if what's covered in that show's true, no wonder they have problems. Like, yeah, I'll just walk into a room, we all sit there in silence. The first time we greet each other is at the fucking we're about to take off the flight, when we've potentially got hundreds of people's lives in our hands. That's the first time we say hi to each other. But the true stories, I don't think there's any fiction to this, because that would be weird to have it. But those stories he's reading over with the real dude who was in charge of the whatever, like, and reading those black box back and forth back about accidents happening. I mean, based on what I'm told in this show, it's not like I've done my own evidence, I think he's got a point.
Yeah, he does. So
yeah,
excited to see how the rest of the season plays out. Especially, I read an article today that makes me very intrigued about what this next episode is going to be about. Because apparently Nathan Field is taking shots at Paramount after they pulled one of his episodes of Nathan for Review from their streaming service.
All right. I thought the first episode was fine. It's just like, HBO has given me all this money to make a comedy show, but like,
how do you make this funny?
How do you make this
How do
funny?
you make
And then
plane crashes
camera
funny? Yeah.
camera pans down to that woman actor pretending to be dead and just goes, "Help me!" I'm like, well, that's it. That's how you made it funny. Like, to be honest, I laughed on it.
All right. Last week we talked about The Accountant 2 being one of the big releases of the week. You went back and watched The Accountant with Ben Affleck.
Yeah. The problem with watching this, and I'm going to spoil the main twist of the movie because the second one's out now, and if you watch the trailer, it spoils it like it did for me. So when you watch the first movie, you don't actually know that Ben Affleck and John Berthnell's characters are brothers. That's meant to be a twist.
Oh.
However, if you've watched the Accountant 2 trailer, like all of us have at this point, and it's in cinemas now, obviously the outset of that trailer, you got the trailer. Now, I'd watched the Accountant 2 trailer before watching the Accountant 1 movie. So I start watching the movie, I see these two characters at opposite ends. They're showing me him doing this other person do this. You think they're like on the opposite sides of the coin. One's working for like the quote unquote bad guy, John Berthnell. Ben Affleck's working for himself or whatever. Like we're gonna these are gonna be two people that are facing off. And I guess if you watch the movie for the first time, there's a moment where I'm just gonna spoil the movie at this point because who cares? Again, the second one's out now. Skip ahead a minute if you want. When they get to the end of the movie, Ben Affleck's having this big scene. His character goes in, he's like fucking shooting everyone, right? Makes his way in. John Berthnell's character is watching the cameras, and you can tell he's like trying to work out if it's his brother because he hasn't seen him for a while. And then he comes out, and obviously they greet each other, and it's like they don't kill each other, sort of thing. That's when you're like, oh god, they're brothers. But the whole time, the whole movie, I'm watching it just going, well, the twist is not going to work on me because I already know they're brothers. So, yeah, that made it sort of interesting. I thought it was fine. It's just, it's perfectly dumb in its own sort of way. This sounds weird to say, but I think Ben Affleck does a good job at playing this like high
on the
functioning
spectrum person,
person on the spectrum. It feels like I don't know. I'd like to know how people within that community feel about the character. I guess would be my interesting point. I don't feel like he does anything that's, at least in my opinion, which again coming from I have no idea, to be honest.
Poor trail.
I don't think he does anything that like is meant to make fun of anyone with.
No, it's not like that Sia movie.
No, 100%. Like he does lots of little ticks or whatever, little habits and stuff, like his whole like blowing on the hands and before he eats, and the way he sort of speaks at times and stuff like that. But I don't feel like it's ever portrayed as negative. If anything, it's supposed to portray him as this obviously super smart guy and whatever else. Yeah, I mean, look, it was fun for what it was. I think it went for way too long. It was like it should have been like 90 minutes, not 2 hours. I don't think that the Anna Kendrick character and the weird moment where they sort of tried to tease romance between her and Ben Affleck's character was odd to me, but whatever. And then also even J.K. Simmons' character, who's dead at the start of The Accountant 2. That's the whole setup for that based on the trailer. His character in this is also very weird. Starts out as this just aggressive asshole, and then by the end of the movie, he's like sort of more likable, but comes out of nowhere. It's weird. It's all over the place. But yeah, I mean, I'll probably watch the second one because I kind of just want to see Ben Affleck and John Berthnell on the screen together again. I enjoyed their chemistry at the end of the movie. Yeah, their chemistry at the end of the movie was enough to make me want to watch a whole movie of them together. If that works, yeah. But you don't see them together until the end of the movie, so.
Oh, so just like the amateur. All right, let's move into the mandatory. Hang on. I've just been told you watched another hit movie on the weekend. You watched the hit Adam Sandler movie Pixels.
Who told you that?
One, Kieran Marchant.
Yeah, I was nearly not going to even check into it because I was like, I'll just hide it so I don't have to talk about it. Yeah, so look, we get to the hotel room. We're sitting there. I pick up the remote. I'm looking for some shit to watch. Scrolling through, and I'm thinking, I'm only going to half pay attention to this anyway because I'm probably just going to jump into bed. It's like 8:30, right? Tuesday. No, not Tuesday. Why did I say Tuesday? I think it was 8:30 Saturday night. Fucking tired anyway. So I'm like, I'm going to half pay attention to whatever's on. I see Pixels, and my brain just says, if I'm ever going to watch this movie,
it's going to be now.
It's going to be now. Half paying attention. And I did. I watched it all. And I want you to know Kieran fell asleep 2 or 3 times throughout it. No idea how I hear the movie
asleep
over him.
2 or 3 times during Until Dawn?
No, he didn't fall asleep until dawn.
Okay,
No,
cool.
no, he was awake from the scares and stuff. Unlike when we went and watched
The Apprentice.
whatever, The Apprentice, where he fell asleep a couple times. But no, he definitely fell asleep several times to Pixels, and then every time he woke up, I just kept saying, "You missed the best part." Have you seen this movie?
No.
Yeah, it's terrible. I don't mind the premise because it's sort of a dumb, fun premise, especially for a family film, I guess, which is that the idea is that basically humans at some stage sent up a box and like more or less, hey aliens, here's a snapshot of human life.
They send
in
a
the
message
80s.
out into space. Yes.
Yeah, and that included video games. And aliens took that as a threat of war, and then they basically come down to Earth and they're like, we will play your games. If you lose 3 of your games, we will take over your planet. And the games they're playing are all these arcade games. And of course, Adam Sandler's playing a character who was great at video games as a kid, who lost the video game championship to Peter Dinklage's character. And then Kevin James, who was also one of his friends, grows up to be the president. So then, of course, he just hangs around the president and can come and go as he pleases, even though he just works for like an electrical company. And then Josh Gad plays another one of his friends who is like a conspiracy theorist when he grows up. And there's other people I can't remember. Yep. Yep. And then because, then they're like, we got to play these games. They're like, oh, no, apparently the army can't. The first scene where they take over is they're like, we're going to bring you in to help train the army. So you can teach them what to do. Also, this is just Adam Sandler playing Adam Sandler being Adam Sandler, which is the other thing annoying about it. Adam Sandler never plays anything other than Adam Sandler. And then like at the start of the movie, he like meets Michelle Monaghan's character when he comes to install a TV for her son, which I'm like, who the fuck pays these people to install? Like, I'm sure this kid can work it out for himself. If not, he can work it out or not play video games. You know what I mean? Like, learn to install your electronics, kids, or like just because your mum's some rich general in the army or some shit, like, get your
But
shit together.
he wasn't mounting it to the wall?
No, I don't know. He was just installing all these fucking cables and stuff. I'm like, good lord.
Okay, that
Yeah,
if they were
weird.
like putting it up on the wall, I'd understand. But
Yeah, maybe. I don't think I saw
just
any
plugging
blowing
the
up wall.
cables in, that's
I
ridiculous.
just saw a bunch of cable work going on, but yeah. And then they have like a back and forth flirtation thing, but obviously they have no chemistry together because it's Michelle Monaghan and Adam Sandler, so they have no chemistry. And then then they all end up having to work together, and then they're like, yeah, the army, so they're gonna like take down the things. And the first game they go to play is Centipede. So they got to shoot the centipedes, which are coming down from the sky, these aliens. And Adam Sandler's character and Josh Gad are like, don't shoot the middle of the centipede. You got to shoot the heads or else they split, like in the game. So, of course, the army, being the American army, just start wailing fucking back.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh my God, you guys suck. And then Adam Sandler just picks up a real machine gun because that translates from video games to real life and just starts nailing headshots left, right, and center. And then, so does Josh Gad. And then the president and the army are like, you guys are the guys now. You got to fight all the aliens. Yeah, it's not good, eh? There's a really weird scene where they have this dude play the dude who created Pac-Man, but it's not actually him, and it just feels weird to be like, this is some Japanese actor play the dude and they'll be like, this is the guy who created Pac-Man, and then comes out and says he loves Pac-Man, and then Pac-Man eats his arm, and I don't know, it's very weird. Also, Peter Dinklage is Peter Dinklage, and Kevin James is Kevin James, and Sean Bean, I can't remember if he dies or not, but he's in this. You know what? It was the perfect movie to watch while I was on my phone in that hotel room.
Okay.
It was also so boring it put Kieran to sleep several times. So,
There you go. I'm glad we circled back to this.
All I'm going to say is, if I put something else on, I would have been disappointed I fell asleep in something I actually wanted to watch.
Okay.
You know?
All right. Let's move it.
Also, quickly, we didn't watch more of it, but when we first got to the hotel and I was like, can I charge my phone for like 10, 15 minutes? Then we'll head out on Friday, right? So I plug my phone in. I'm looking for a TV just to because it's ADHD or some shit. I can't just find something. And I'm like flipping through. I'm like, let's stick this on for 10 minutes. Fucking Venom: The Last Dance. And I was like, Kieran, you haven't seen this, have you? And he hasn't seen it. So I like watched the first like 10 minutes where it's just like the weird 5 minutes explanation of why Venom gets sucked to the other universe for no reason, then comes back and then he does that whole like making the drinks and everything like that. And then I turned it off to go and I turned to Kieran and I said, do you want to watch more? And he said no. So, there we go. There's his review.
Checked out. Now let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. And I watched the new Gareth Evans film starring Tom Hardy, Havoc, that just dropped on Netflix, in which Tom Hardy plays a, dirty cop, homicide detective. Huh?
I feel like you royally fucked this segment because you should have said, talking about Tom Hardy and the Venom, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment where I watched Havoc.
Yeah, I did fuck that segue.
You fucked it terribly.
Fuck the segue, yes. So Tom Hardy plays a crooked homicide detective who's on the payroll of a real estate tycoon played by Forrest Whitaker. When Forrest Whitaker's son gets caught up in a cocaine exchange turned wrong, Tom Hardy kind of has to find his son, to kind of finally get out of working for Forrest Whitaker's character, I guess. It's kind of a very base level overall explanation. Interesting film. Like, it is definitely engaging. It is unlike Pixels, not a movie that you can just be on your phone doing stuff. It demands your attention. It has a very distinct look about it. It's like very grimy and like, I've been trying to wrap my mind of something that it kind of looks like, and I think the closest thing that I can kind of get to is it kind of looks like Sin City, but like maybe not like a colorized in that way, but like it's got a comic book-esque look to it because it is like they never explain where the city that they're in is actually but it's definitely like some amalgamation of like a bunch of cities all kind of put together. So the streets are like filled with like very CGI like that kind of stuff. So it's got like a weird comic booky kind of look to it a little bit. Obviously it's from Gareth Evans, so you expect it to be very action packed. It isn't totally action packed. I mean, there are some really cool shoot 'em up action sequences, especially there's this massive one in a club, like maybe halfway through the film, which is like the reason that you need to watch this movie because I think that's really fantastic. But then it's also this is one of those action movies that is like super shaky cam, like excessively shaky. Like someone check the camera operator in case to make sure he's okay. He's shaking that much. That it's like pretty hard to keep focused on the action. And then the gunplay is like even I, as someone who is not totally aware of how guns really work or as any sort of gun aficionado in any way, am like, I don't think that gun sounds like how it should sound. I'm pretty sure this gun would have run out of bullets by this point. And that kind of stuff throughout the movie. It's like, there's definitely leaps of logic, or like, maybe it is like this world is sort of unrealistic in a way. But yeah, I mean, really interesting. Tom Hardy is very good as, this detective trying to find these kids. Timothy Oliphant leads this group of other crooked cops who are at odds with Tom Hardy's character after they used to be together, but then, there was a drug bust gone wrong. And all these different ties, and there's like all these different factions kind of like coming together at the very end, and like there's, big shootouts and all this kind of shit. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot, and it doesn't say a lot. I don't know. It's a very interesting film, but I don't know if I could call it a very good film. It's definitely not a Raid or a Raid 2 in any way or shape or form.
It's interesting. I just look because it's done by Matt. The cinematography is still done by Matt Flannery, who's done his cinematography on everything he's done.
Everything. So. But like I said, it could be the case. That does just because he does the cinematography doesn't mean he's the camera operator. And True. He had so much time.
True. But
I don't know. Yeah, it's just, all those things kind of irked me about it. But there are still some pretty cool elements in there as well. So yeah. It'll be interesting to read around and see what other people kind of feel about the movie. It hasn't got a great cinema score or Rotten Tomatoes score. I think it's sitting at a hang on, it's sitting at a 65 on Rotten Tomatoes with a average of no, I can't find the average, but the but the user rating score is at 39. So I mean. But then that's all the Americans who are angry that the guns don't work like they should gun. I specifically read that like one of the first comments is these guns don't work properly. So I mean, yeah, interesting film. Dylan, you watched the documentary Oklahoma City bombing. One Day in America.
I gotta be. Yeah, I clicked play on this thinking it was another miniseries. It was a movie. Time passed, and then I was like, because I remember thinking I'll just put something on for 40 minutes while I like I'll do some stuff on my laptop at the same time. This will probably be like 40 minutes. This will work. I put it on, and I remember thinking like, fuck this. This seems to be going for a while. And then I looked and it was like 15 minutes left at that point. I'm like, oh, this is a movie. Didn't even realize. Yeah, so this is about the
Wait, but
1995.
it's 3 episodes.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
According to what?
Trakt?
No. Trakt has it wrong. It's a movie.
Oh, okay.
Trakt has the wrong information. And if I've checked into them like that, it's because that was the only
That's the
choice
only
I
way.
had. Yeah, so it's like a 90-minute movie. Weird. Maybe they changed their mind at some point. It was a series.
Wait,
yeah.
What did you watch this on?
Netflix.
I think you've checked into the wrong one.
Oh, you sure?
Because this one, it says it's on Disney Plus.
The one I watched
and was through National Geographic.
Oklahoma City bombing. American Terror. Is that what I've watched?
You clicked One Day in America.
Oh, my bad.
That's fine. So it's a movie.
Let me fix that before I forget, because I can't have fake news on my profile. Please hold. I see. See what I've done here, eh? Let me just uncheck those from my profile. All plays of that. All plays of that. All plays of that. Get out of here, fake. I don't want these fake numbers at the end of the year, you know what I mean? Like,
no, that's fair.
I don't need shit on my fucking profile I've watched. Yeah. Anyway, this Netflix movie that I watched.
Mm-hmm.
It is about the Oklahoma City bombing, which, to be honest, I didn't know about. I don't think. Didn't ring any bells. Not something I was aware of. I mean, it happened when I was like 3. So, and I don't live in America, so there's many factors there. But yeah, terrible bombing that happened at the Oklahoma City Federal Building, where 3 people were basically convicted of being involved in it in some degree or another. They were all driven from the I can't remember the dude behind Waco. I can't remember his name, but
yes,
they were all fans of that guy and his very like anti-government views and stances and beliefs. And they all met. These 3 people all met in the military, and then basically they do this bombing on the. I think it's 1 year after the Waco, or maybe not 1 year, but it's at least on the anniversary. No, it wouldn't be 1995.
2 years.
2 years, yeah, that makes more sense.
So Waco, the Waco siege, led by David Koresh, ended April 19th, 1993. So this Oklahoma City bombing happened April 19th, 1995.
Yeah. So 2 years later, they do this. It's very obviously on the day. They cover that documentary. A lot of people, talking heads throughout it, saying, a few people like, the police, especially, they're like, someone came from the office and did say, hey, I just clicked on it's the anniversary of that. Do we think this has any connection to Waco? And then they start going down that connection path to find out who it is. I will say there's a wild moment where just like the luck they have in capturing the main guy, because he got held for a traffic violation in like several counties or whatever, the next state over, whatever it was, and he was in court at the time. Their sketches and whatever they're looking for him, they find out he's in court at the time, and they go there and manage to get him. But if they'd been even a few hours later, he would have like probably passed bail because it was only a traffic thing, and would have fucked off, and they may not have been able to find him again. So interesting timing there. But yeah, I mean, overall, obviously very horrible, horrific piece of American history here. But yeah, just adds to that, I guess, that lineage from that Waco think path, which I mean, to a degree, does still continue in a lot of American groups today. So yeah, overall a good documentary, but add it to those list of ones I say it's good, but you know, also terrible.
All right. That's everything in our watch history. Let's move into some film news. And Dylan, it's a very quiet week. There's not a lot of interesting news stories coming out this week, but every week there's a bunch of castings or acquisitions or properties being bought. We like to cover these in a segment I like to call Would You Want to Invest? I list off a property for Dylan, and he tells me if he would fully invest, partially invest, or not invest, and then history will be the judge if he's right or wrong. You ready?
I'm always ready. I was born ready.
Cool. A drama based on Jhumpa Lahiri's collection of short stories, Unaccustomed Earth, has been ordered at Netflix from showrunner, writer, and executive producer John Wells and writer EP Madhuri Shekhar. The writer's room has been up and running since February and is close to completion on the 8-episode first season. The official logline reads, Unaccustomed Earth is an epic and a cultural vibrant drama about a tight-knit Indian American community navigating love, desire, and belonging. Rich with nuanced, passionate, and unforgettable characters, Unaccustomed Earth invites you into the elite and insular Indian American community of Cambridge, Massachusetts, when a star-crossed romance between a devoted wife and his long-lost love comes to light. A scandalous affair is born, and new battle lines are drawn in this intensely interconnected immigrant community.
Partial invest, potentially uncovered interesting Indigenous stories, but also half of what you said sounded boring. So partial.
I don't think it's those kind of Indians. I think it's actual Indians who've immigrated to America.
Yeah. Is it? Oh, like, I mean, then it was still
from Southeast Asia.
Right. Nah, fuck them then. Fuck them then. You know what I mean? Like, no invest.
Wow. Sorry to the 1.5 billion people living in India. Listen to this podcast. All right. In a competitive situation, Blumhouse Television acquired rights to Marisha Purcell's number one national bestseller, Darkly, to turn into a TV series, which will be executive produced by Jamie Lee Curtis through her company Comet Pictures' first look deal with the independent studio. Darkly was published on November 26, 2024 by Penguin Random House. In it, Arcadia Deard-Gannon has been associated with Louisiana Vida, the game designer whose obsessive creations and company, Darkly, have gained a cult-like following. Dia is shocked when she's chosen for a highly coveted internship alongside with 6 other teenagers from around the world. Why her? Dia has never won anything in her life. Darkly, once a game-making empire renowned for its ingenious and utterly terrifying toys and games, now lies dormant after Vida's mysterious death. The remaining games are priced like rare works of art, with some fetching millions of dollars at auction. As Dia and the other interns delve into the heart of Darkly, discover hidden symbols, buried clues, and a web of intrigue. Who are these other teens, and what secrets do they keep? Why were any of them really chosen? The answers lie within the twisted labyrinth of Darkly.
I'm going to full invest, and I'm going to download a sample to my Kindle now.
See. It's also a book podcast.
I mean, lately, there's an element, at least of the last year, where sometimes we'll a trailer or something comes up in here, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. Let me go find the.
Saw Spirit Hero, yeah.
We ready for clown in a cornfield. The trailer played when me and Ash watched Until Dawn and it started, and he goes,
With Kieran.
"Oh, fucking clown, this looks." Sorry, yeah, we watched it with Kieran. He was like, I think I heard him mutter something like, "Oh, this looks dumb," and I was like, "Fucking
Shut your
let me
fucking
tell,
mouth.
let me fucking tell you about."
Let me break down the wall.
I've read. I was like, I've read all 3 of these fucking books now. He's like, this is based on a fucking book. I'm like, don't fucking.
Just because it's got a simple name doesn't mean it's a simple story.
Yeah.
All right. Bernie Gunther is heading to the small screen. Apple TV Plus has greenlit a long gestating TV adaptation of the late Philip Kerr's popular Berlin noir novels books from Oscar-winning Conclave writer Peter Strahan, Doctor Who producer Bad Wolf, and Tom Hanks and Gary Gort's Playtone. The untold drama is based on Kerr's final book Metropolis, which told the iconic detective's origin story. Set in 1928, Metropolis follows the newly promoted police officer Gunther in the intimidating elite Berlin murder squad, investigating what seems to be a serial killer targeting victims on the fringes of society. Gunther's Berlin is described as a city of unprecedented freedom and dizzying turbulence, the Nazis a distant nightmare waiting in the wings.
Yeah, full invest. There's I don't know, there's something like about that category of, I guess, anything to do with Nazis where like someone like, are we overdone? Are we sick of this? Are we? Well, I guess no. Yeah, full invest.
Yeah, sounds promising. All right. Amazon MGM Studios Orion Pictures is developing Nanny Cam, a thriller based on a short story by Nelson Greaves, who will adapt the screenplay with George Tillman Jr. directing. The film follows a married couple with marital issues who leaves a babysitter at home with their 3 kids during a rare night out. When they see someone in their house on the nanny cam, the night goes horribly awry, and they race home and work together to save their kids.
Sounds like the plot of
Drop.
similar plot to Drop. Yeah. Partial invest.
Okay.
Also, as a side note,
Sure.
because I don't think it's been announced for a movie soon, but I've nearly finished listening to it. I was listening to it on my plane ride, both sides, but I've been listening to this book, Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and I think I've only got a couple chapters left. But something about it is just making me go, "This will be a." I'm predicting Netflix series now. New segment. Dylan predicts where this book will go. Netflix series.
Okay.
It has Netflix series written all over it, I think.
How many seasons?
1 miniseries.
Cancelled.
One.
It's a miniseries.
Mike Flanagan would do a good job of making this if he wants to.
If he wants to go off his Stephen King thing.
If he wants to go back, yeah.
All right. Joel McHale and Paula Patton are set to star alongside Jonas Kibriev, the lead of Pixar's forthcoming Elio, in Reimagined, a musical feature marking the directorial debut of composer Matteo Messina, which adapts his original symphony, The Pageant. Written by Messina and Jeff Wisk, the film follows Felix McCoy, a young boy grappling with the loss of his mother, the beloved creator of the town's annual holiday pageant. When the production is taken over and rebranded into a shallow spectacle by cocksure director Hamilton Lydell, Felix secretly sabotages the event, only to realize that saving the show might be the only way to keep his late mother's spirit alive.
Nah, fuck your mum.
Just
no invest.
Fucking a lot of people today.
Yeah. It's the only way I'm getting any.
Bill Camp, Rachel Hilson, Tyler Lofton, and Rory Scovel have boarded Amazon MGM's courtroom comedy starring Will Ferrell and Zac Efron, which is now officially titled Judgment Day. Character details for the 4 newcomers are kept under wraps. The film follows young convict, fresh out of prison, who takes a reality TV courtroom hostage, blaming the megalomaniac TV judge for a past ruling that the convict feels ruined his life.
I'm not investing in that's going straight to some streaming service.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's going straight to Prime.
There we go. See?
It doesn't specifically say this article.
Yep.
But yeah.
No,
I mean,
not best.
it's an interesting concept. What if somebody came back and got, kidnapped Judge Judy because they're upset about the ruling Judge Judy had?
Then they should go to prison for kidnapping. I mean, what's the
Probably.
question we're asking here? Like,
Would that be amusing to watch?
No.
All right. No. Ella Rubin and Emily Hofwell have been tapped as the co-leads of Amazon MGM Studios' Sterling Point, a YA drama series from My Old Ass writer-director Megan Park, Lucky Chap, and Josh Schwartz and Stephanie Savage's Fake Empire. Sterling Point was created by Park, who will also direct and executive produce. Plot details have been kept under wraps, but the series is being described as an ensemble drama with comedy and heart about sisterhood, nature versus nurture, complicated family dynamics, and grief. It is believed to follow Annie, who, along with her twin brother, were raised in New York by a single dad before they find out that their estranged grandfather left them an island on a lake in his will.
Yeah, obviously I loved My Old Ass and The Fallout. So yeah, full invest.
Jack Kesey has been tapped for a main role in 12-12-12, Apple TV's contemporary international heist series, starring and executive produced by Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dorman. 12-12-12 unfolds along 3 timelines of a heist: the 12 months of planning, the 12 hours of the heist, and the 12 days following the heist. The series follows a disgraced FBI agent and American career criminal who play a zero-sum game of cat and mouse across Europe. At the center of it all is the daring epic raid on a bank vault deep beneath the streets of Zurich.
Partial invest. I feel like that's a good idea that can be under the right. That's an interesting concept under the right hands. Could be really good, but also be just like super boring if not done well. To be honest, so
yeah, I mean, we've seen show. I mean, it's trying to be. It's
trying to be adolescence as well.
It's trying. Oh fuck! What's the Nolan war film? Dunkirk. It's trying to be Dunkirk.
Yeah.
You know, because all these different time periods happening at the same time.
But it'll flash up on the screen to tell you when each of the timelines is, rather than
or like there'll be some sort of visual.
Yeah, where Dunkirk's just like, we're a fucking movie.
Yeah, pay attention.
Pay attention, motherfuckers. Yeah.
Greg Kinnear, Aidy Bryant, and Shea Rudolph are among 10 actors joining the cast of Disney Plus's pilot Holes, based on Louis C.K.'s 1998 book. Written by Alina Menken and with Liz Fang as showrunner, Holes follows Haley, a teenage girl sent to a detention camp where the ruthless warden forces the campus to dig holes for a mysterious purpose.
I wonder how Shia LaBeouf feels about this. Partial invest. Holes is a fun movie, is what I'll say.
Yes. Chicago's novel was previously adapted in the 2003 film, directed by Andrew Davis, starring Shia LaBeouf, Sigourney Weaver, and John Voight.
And Tim Blake Nelson's in that. He's always fun. Yeah, I'm gonna I'll partial invest because I do have good memories of Holes, the movie.
Seems like it's a gender swapped version. Yeah.
No, it's
so
go woke. Go woke, go broke.
Peter Berg's next film looks to be in a full sprint on towards production, as sources tell Deadline that Ray Nicholson and Tom Francis are set to star in the director's next film, The Mosquito Bowl, for Netflix. They join Nicholas Galazine and Bill Skarsgård in the pick. Based on Buzz Bissinger's New York Times bestseller, The Mosquito Bowl, a game of life and death in World War II, the film is set after the attack on Pearl Harbor, when 4 of America's top college football stars set their fame aside to enlist in the Marines. As they prepare for the brutal invasion of Okinawa, they play in a legendary game featuring some of the greatest players in history, a game that, for many, will be the last they ever play.
I'm not going to invest because I think personally Peter Berg's previous movies are very tribalistic. What's his last? Let me hold on. Let me find what was his last. I haven't even seen some of this stuff, but let's just read backwards, right? American Primeval, Painkiller, Player 54, Chasing the XFL Dream, Boys in Blue, Around with Tiger, Celebrity Playing Lessons, Freak Tate, whatever the fuck that is, The People's Fighters, Cuban Boxing, Mile 22, Patriots Day, Deepwater Horizon, Breakthrough, Bowlers, a couple episodes leftovers, Lone Survivor. I mean, when I'm thinking of that, I'm thinking Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, Patriots Day, in particular, those three is what's on my mind when I hear, which were all like super just non-nuanced schlop. So him doing this, it'll be like, those fuckers in Japan, they took our footballers. Is about the take is the take I would expect from this, to be honest. So no investment.
But he also directed the film Friday Night Lights, so
cool. The TV show's better than the film, so
I mean
everyone knows that.
That's true.
That is the take. That's not even a bad take. That's just the unequivocal take that is a TV show is better than the movie.
Also, Pearl Harbor, he also directed Battleship. There are ships at Pearl Harbor, you know. All
what else do I have to say here? Get Bill Skarsgård out of this shit. The fuck are you doing, man?
All right. In a competitive situation, Lionsgate has landed Renegotiate, a high-concept action thriller spec by Mark Townsend. Sources tell us. The film centers on a troubled FBI crisis negotiator who finds himself stuck in a time loop, reliving the events of a bombing and struggling to stop it before time runs out. Think source code meets phone booth.
Partial invest because potential, but only partial because also I feel like the Groundhog Day thing's a little bit done at the moment.
All right.
Phone Booth is a good movie though. Call out.
Phone Booth is.
Yeah.
That's kind of
2003, I think.
Huh?
Let's check. I want to check. I love playing this game. I said 2003. Let's see if I was right. Hold on. Phone Booth. Oh, 2002. Fuck, I was close.
I mean, it's like one of Colin Farrell's like earlier films, right?
Early films. Yeah, I think it was the first film I was seeing him in. To be honest,
Yeah.
I think I saw that before Daredevil. So.
Laura Lippman's series of books following private investigator Tess Monahan may soon hit the small screen. Tomorrow Studios has acquired the series. Lippman, a New York Times bestselling author, will co-write the television series with Edgar-winning author Megan Abbott. The Tess Monahan series follows the investigative pursuits of Tess Monahan, a female reporter turned private investigator in Baltimore. Each book follows intricate plots with intriguing characters in Baltimore's diverse neighborhoods.
That was a lot of words.
Mm-hmm.
Partial invest.
All right. Last one for this week. Antonio Banderas is set to co-star opposite Dominic Sessa in Tony, the Anthony Bourdain movie from A24 Star Thrower and Zapruder Films. Matt Johnson is directing from a script by Todd Bartels and Lou Howe. The logline is under wraps, but sources say the film will take place during the summer of 1976, when a young Anthony Bourdain has a life-changing summer in Providencetown. It is unknown who Banderas is playing.
No.
Not investing.
No invest. No.
Wow.
I got many.
A24 mil film, no money. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm going no. I
feel hate Anthony Bourdain.
I don't hate Anthony Bourdain. I still feel like that's too soon. / like just I don't know.
Okay.
It feels like it was last year still.
I feel like he's passed away several years ago.
It was a while ago, but it's just I don't know. It still feels rushed. So I'm gonna say no.
Okay. So that's Dylan's thoughts. Here, of course, history will be the judge, but let's talk about some movies that we know are coming a little bit sooner in Thumbster trailers. Because of course, you can find all the trailers we're about to talk about in the show notes below. Kicking things off, let's talk about Sirens, created by Molly Smith Metzler, starring Julianne Moore, Megan Fahey, Millie Alcock, Kevin Bacon, and Glenn Howerton. Over one explosive weekend at a lavish beach estate, Devon tries to save her sister from the intoxicating grip of her enigmatic boss, only to discover just how dangerous power and privilege can be. Dylan, what did you think of this trailer? Did it give you anxiety?
Didn't give me anxiety. It just made me wish it was a movie or a TV show because I'm like, I'd be down for this as a movie. Do I want to watch 5 episodes of these horrible characters? You know, we talked about this already this year. Like watching these bratty bitches. Can I handle it? Don't know. 5 episodes. Give it a go. But double thumbs up for the trailer.
Yeah, I think 2 thumbs up as well. Really good, well put together trailer. Cool to see Millie Alcock in something. We haven't really seen her since Game of Thrones. I mean, I believe she came back and did a second season of the Aussie show she did with Tim Minchin, but outside of that, haven't seen her anywhere except preparing to do Supergirl. So, cool for her to be in something else. Yeah, I mean, interesting concept. I don't know. I feel like we've kind of seen this before. But overbearing boss who's like controlling and that kind of stuff, and kind of weird, maybe like hold on her and maybe all these other people. So intriguing at the very least. Yeah, apparently it's based on a play, which kind of also makes it interesting that it is being turned into a miniseries. Because you assume a play would be movie length.
Well, yeah, like what, 3 hours maybe? Intermission plays, longer side, I guess. Yeah,
I guess we're extending plays all the time. Look at Wicked. So, Sirens is coming to Netflix on the 22nd of May. Next trailer is for Bride Hard, directed by Simon West, starring Rebel Wilson, Anna Camp, Anna Klumsky, Divine Joy Randolph, Gigi Zimbardo, Stephen Dorff, and Justin Hartley. When a mercenary group takes a lavish wedding hostage, they have no idea what they are in for, as the maid of honor is actually a secret agent ready to rain hell upon anyone who would ruin her best friend's wedding. Dylan, what do you think of the trailer for this Pitch Perfect reunion?
I'm going to tell you something right now.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a stinker of a week here. Double thumbs down. This looks terrible. I turned it off before the trailer finished.
Whoa!
Which there's another trailer I did the same thing for, so let's see how that went. And before it finished, I mean, probably like the last 20 seconds. I got 20. I watched 70% of it.
Did you get the bit where she gets into the hovercraft?
No.
And she gets in the hovercraft and she's like, "Oh, how do we drive this thing?" And Andy Camp's character, "Oh, I thought secret agents knew how to drive everything." So it's not the females, which is joking, because
I've really, you've changed my mind.
I'll get one up one now. I think this will be a fun. I think this will be a fun time. I'm not going to pay money to go see it in the cinemas, but I think if it's streaming somewhere, I'll be happy.
You're telling me this shit's going to the cinemas? Get out of here.
Yes, it is coming to US cinemas on the 20th of June and Australian cinemas on the 17th of July. Next trailer. Fountain of Youth, directed by Guy Ritchie, starring John Krasinski, Natalie Portman, Isaac Gonzalez, Domhnall Gleeson, Arian Mahad, Laz Alonso, Carmen Egojo, and Stanley Tucci. 2 estranged siblings join forces to seek the legendary Fountain of Youth. Using historical clues, they embark on an epic quest filled with adventure. If successful, the mythical fountain could grant them immortality. Dylan, you're a Guy Ritchie fan. What do you think of this for his trailer for his latest film?
I'm gonna go one up, one down. I'll say there's so many elements here that I sort of like. Like there's a lot of the cast really like. I like the idea. It seems like a sort of, we don't often get many fun, just sort of adventure movies like this, obviously, made anymore. So all of that ticks a lot of boxes. Something just felt bland about it. So 1 up, 1 down.
I'm 2 thumbs up. I really enjoyed this trailer. I enjoyed a version of this trailer that we had on our docket for a few weeks ago that we pulled when a bunch of better trailers came out.
I think that trailer's better, to be honest.
It might be, except I believe they have the... In that trailer, I feel like they had the Rolling Stones can't always get what you want.
Yeah.
It was very obnoxious. This one, they've got...
maybe it was shorter, and maybe that's why
something
I liked
else.
it more.
Another iconic song. Apple throwing their money around for these trailers. I mean, I enjoyed the chemistry of the cast, and John Krasinski looks like he's having a good time. It's definitely getting like National Treasure kind of vibes. So, I'm down. I'm excited. This one's coming to Apple TV Plus on the 23rd of May. Next trailer, which I'm pretty confident in saying is probably the one that you also did not watch all of. Heads of State, directed by Ilya Nashula, starring John Cena, Idris Elba, Priyanka Chopra, Jonas, Jack Quaid, Paddy Considine, Stephen Root, and Carla Gugino. When the UK Prime Minister and US President become targets of a foreign adversary, they're forced to rely on one another to thwart a global conspiracy. Dylan, do I need to ask?
No, I did not finish this trailer.
Dylan, it's the Suicide Squad team up that we never think we'd see again. John Cena, Idris Elba.
I got nothing for you, man.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this is 2 thumbs down. It's not very good. This, the shtick is running dry, a little bit. Obviously, there are some cool names involved. We all love Jack Quaid. We do love Idris Elba and John Cena. You really enjoyed the director's last film, Nobody, with Bob Odenkirk. But yeah, this ain't it.
This fucking folding clothes washing movie out of my eyesight.
That's it. Odds are July 20th. No, 2nd of July, when it drops on Prime Video, I might end up watching it.
You love to watch shit.
Sometimes it just makes you appreciate the good stuff more. It makes you realize when people say certain movies are bad movies, they're not actually bad movies. They're mediocre movies because they haven't seen the bad stuff to appreciate the good stuff.
I think they've seen too much of the bad stuff. They can't appreciate the good stuff. I think we've gone too far into the deep sometimes. We can't come back.
That's true. That could be true. Last trailer for this week is
Badlands.
What?
Oh, sorry. I was dreaming. You put a good trailer in. Don't worry, keep going.
That was a teaser. It was not nearly long enough to qualify as a trailer.
It's good though.
It was good. Last trailer is I Know What You Did Last Summer, directed by Jennifer Caton Robinson, starring Madeline Klein, Chase Sue Wonders, Jonah Howard King, Tyreek Withers, Sarah Pigeon, Billy Campbell, Gabriette Betchel, Austin Nichols, Lola Tung, Nicholas Alexander Chavez, Freddie Prinze Jr., and Jennifer Love Hewitt. When 5 friends inadvertently cause a deadly car accident, they cover up their involvement and make a pact to keep it a secret rather than face the consequences. 1 year later, the past comes back to haunt them as they learn someone knows what they did last summer. Stalked by a mysterious killer, they soon seek help from 2 survivors of the legendary Southport Massacre of 1997. Dylan, you were keen on this reboot or continuation. What did you think of this trailer for I Know What You Did Last Summer?
All right, so I'm going to say something I'm pretty sure I said when we talked about it initially. The reason I'm keen on this movie, I'm putting all my hopes into it, is that it's from the person who wrote and did
Do
Revenge, which was good shit.
It was good shit.
And this movie is about revenge, So, based on that, it should be good. I'm going to give the trailer 1 up, 1 down. It's a very hey, Do you remember that movie from years ago? And if not, it doesn't matter because anyway, here's the exact same plot because it's the exact same fucking plot, which is weird because they're doing, at least when Scream did we're just going to do like a soft reboot and call it the exact same thing, Scream, like it's not Scream 6 or whatever. They're like, at least the plot wasn't exactly the same. Whereas this one's like, it's I Know What You Did Last Summer, but it's technically I Know What You Did Last Summer 3, even though it's technically like the fourth movie, but they're ignoring one. And they're saying this takes place after 2. Or I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, but it's the exact same thing where it's like a bunch of characters.
Is it set in the same canon as the TV show?
No, TV shows don't canon, I believe.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, but it's like 5 characters killing someone in the car again, which is exactly what happens in the first film, but also the people from the original film. Whatever.
I think 5 people killing people in a car is like more common than you actually think.
Probably, yeah. That's a good point. Look, they got Freddie Prinze Jr. back. I love that he comes out to that courtroom and says, "I know what you did last summer." And then Jennifer Love Hewitt comes out and she says, "But first, tell me what you did last summer." They're just throwing around the words left, right. I don't remember if that's exactly what they said, but anyway,
I don't think Freddie Prinze Jr. said that at all.
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna rewatch the movies. It's been a while since I watched them, but yeah, I'm keen based solely on the credibility of the writer director, and I'd be keen anyway just because I watched all these movies. Nostalgia, so yeah.
Yeah, one up, one down. I don't have any attachment at all.
I'm shocked. I thought you would have loved this franchise.
Yeah. I appreciate the setup of the kill at the start of the like half the trailer of like, do you guided meditation, and then the guided meditation kind of ties into him taking a harpoon to the chest. I can appreciate that. But the rest of it is just like chopping up everything quickly because like we need to give people an idea what the plot is in the last minute of this trailer.
You see the interview? Oh, you probably didn't, but there was an interview talking about how they tried to get Sarah. She tried to get Sarah Michelle Gellar to come back. And apparently, Sarah Michelle Gellar was at least in the interview. I don't know if that was like making it up, but I'd like to believe it's exactly what she said. But the interview said that she told the director, "You'd see my body, like I'm dead." And then the director was like, "Yeah, but we could probably make something up and get you back." And then apparently Sarah Michelle Gellar said, "I can't come back. I'm Sarah Michelle Deader."
Wouldn't surprise me because she was in Do Revenge, so the director and her know each other.
Probably have just good banter backwards and
good
banter at this point. Yeah, but I was like, that's pretty funny actually.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so she's not coming back.
We do see Miss Sarah Michelle Gellar in the trailer.
See a quick shot of her. There was another part that the interviewer in the same interview asked about Brandy. Can't remember. Hold on, I'll find the actress' name real quick because I don't want to get it wrong. Yeah, Brandy Norwood, who played the or just Brandy, I think, because she was a
R&B singer at the time.
Yeah, R&B singer. So she was in the second one. They asked about her character, and the director was a bit more coy. So presumably she's going to show up at
she's the killer
cameo. Yeah, twist. She's the killer. Could be. Who knows?
I Know What You Did Last Summer comes out 17th July during winter here in Australia.
Right.
Irony. All right, let's talk about this week's top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
This week, Thunderbolts is coming to cinemas. The big Marvel film, which seems a bunch of super villains teaming up.
Some sort of Suicide Squad.
Some sort of squad.
Yep.
Team of getting revenge or of justice. I don't know. So this week's top 3 MCU villains.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan, did you find this as difficult as I did?
I did not.
To narrow it down to 3?
Nah, because there are a lot of shit ones.
All right.
In fact, most of them are shit.
All right. What's your number 3?
My number 3 is Thanos.
Ooh. I put Thanos at number 1.
Yeah. Thanos, obviously, he's a big bad across the biggest arc or the biggest, what do we call that? The biggest phase? What do we call it?
The Infinity Saga.
the Infinity Saga.
Saga.
He's the big bad guy behind the Infinity Saga. You know, for several movies there, we see his hands. We get really acquainted with Old Man's hands, grabbing gauntlets, gabbling stones. He gets pretty good at sitting on thrones there for a few movies. So you know, you don't grow too scared of him pretty fast because you're like, this is just a dude sitting on a chair. But then once he gets out of that chair, he kicks some ass and you know, makes for a good villain. And Josh Brolin shows what's what. And you know, I think it's that second film, in all honesty, where you get to see a little bit more of, I guess, I don't know if you would even call it humanity, but something added to him that makes his character more be a bit more than just one-sided. That I think pushes him up to be more than just guy who wants to destroy half the universe, and be a bit more of an interesting villain to me. So that's why he's at number 3.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he is the big bad, number one, biggest threat. Succeeds. He succeeded in his plan, which, you know, I think is a big win for a villain. You know, and he, you come to understand his motivations and thought process, even if though you realize that what he wants to do is very, very wrong. So yeah, Thanos, my number 1. My number 3 is Zemo from Captain America, the Winter Soldier. You know, another mastermind who kind of wins, because in a way, you know, he wanted the Avengers to break up, and that's what he did. You know, got at the core of them, hurt them in a way that, you know, he couldn't really be hurt, and you know, of all these villains, he's the one I'm surprised is not part of the actual Thunderbolts movie. But you know, who knows? We'll see. You know, because he's historically the leader of the Thunderbolts. So, and yeah, you know, plus he has that dance scene in the Captain, the Falcon and Winter Soldier TV series, which was delightful. Dylan, what's number 2?
Number 2 is Loki. The playful trickster, obviously a villain in 4 films, something like that. Our first big Avengers, you know, the first big bad that we had in the Marvel Universe, but, you know, kept popping back up. And even when you think he's a little bit good, he's still a little bit bad. And when you think he's a little bit bad, he's a little bit good, you know. So we're sort of all over the place with this. Then by the time you get to Loki, you're like, he's a good guy now. But also, there's many other versions that are still the bad guy. So you get the best version of all types of Loki. But yeah, I mean, and the thing is, again, I think rules for what make good villains in my list here. I need nuance to your character, not just bad guy do bad guy things because bad guy reasons. Bad guy, you know, like so. His drive from, you know, between his brother, between wanting to be more than his father and his brother, and, you know, he's lied to about his lineage and all that stuff. It gives him a good motivation, yeah, stuff. Yeah.
All right, my number 2. I feel like it may also be your number 1. Killmonger from Black Panther.
Yeah, Killmonger is my number 1.
Yeah, I mean, Michael B. Jordan is just cool. Got an awesome look. Has a mastermind plan. Is an actual threat to the protagonist. Like understandable motivations that you can get behind. Just, you know, a little bit extreme. You know, and he doesn't go out like a bitch. So, you know, what more can you want from a villain? You know what I mean? Especially one who unfortunately gets killed off. You know. Your thoughts on Killmonger?
Yeah, look, he's such an interesting villain in a world where you can sort of understand why he's doing what he's trying to do, and like in a you know, crazy point of view way. But he's literally like, I basically want to, you know, I'm going to force my cousin off his throne. I'm then going to take over. I'm going to get all the vibranium. I'm going to use that to have an army, and I'm going to go fucking stop all the
kill the
African.
white people.
Basically, going to kill all the white people. I get it, man.
Understandable.
You know? Yeah. Totally fair. So, I think it's that thing of the only other villain I considered for this list that probably would be at 4th would be
Right, I've got 4 other names that were on my list. So you tell me why they should not be on the list. So I've got Wenwu from Shang-Chi and the Ten Rings.
No, fucking don't care.
Vulture from Spider-Man
He
Homecoming.
is my number 4. Yeah. So and again, I think it's that same thing of like Killmonger, where it's like I understand totally why he's doing it, like that. Just the drive for it. It's like a very like like you can ground it into our reality.
Mhm.
You know, you can drive Killmonger's like he's the race war, if you want to,
Yeah.
whatever. You can understand that point. It's the same as like Vulture being like, I got fucked over. Like the way that movie starts and sets him off by just being his job getting fucked over and everything like that, and then getting kicked out because the army, he's just a man
Yep.
trying to put food on his table, and he goes too far is obviously the point.
Yep.
But I think that just makes him an understandable, an interesting villain. Yeah.
Okay. Green Goblin from No Way Home.
No, it's just Green Goblin again. Like if you take him out of the context of being from other films, I think Green Goblin in MCU is not that interesting.
He kills Aunt May. And then the High Evolutionary.
No.
Pretty
Tell me
fun.
about that. Tell me about the High Evolutionary. Tell me about that character.
He's creating worlds and then killing them because they're not perfect.
Yeah.
Also, he
Why?
evolved Rocket into a being and then was going to,
Yeah, but tell me about him. Tell me about him and what makes him interesting.
He's a prick.
Yeah, see my point. Yeah.
Sadistic piece of shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes that's all you need for a villain.
Sometimes. Not my.
What about Nebula?
Nebula's fine, yeah. It's yeah. But the thing is, yes, but I'm like, the reason that that Nebula's an interesting bad guy is actually because of what's added after she becomes a
Good guy.
not even quite a good guy, but at least a like neutral.
But doesn't that work for Loki as well?
I guess so. Yeah, true.
Interesting. Hey, Dylan, this week, what do you want to watch?
God fucking damn it. This week I want to watch Thunderbolts, but I can't remember what TV shows are out. Is my quick question.
I don't think there's anything really
no
on the TV front. Pretty light week.
Yeah, Google says nothing. So yeah, I got nothing. I'll pick nothing.
Yes. So I'm also very keen for Thunderbolts. You're going to listen to all new Marvel cast, where we will likely have a spoiler cast up real soon. But the other film that's coming out this week on Prime Video, Another Simple Favor, with Blake Lively and Anna Kendrick. Very keen to check that out. Probably talk about it next week.
That came around fast, eh?
Yeah. All right, let us know what you want to watch this week, or who are your top 3 Marvel villains. Let us know by finding us on Blue Sky at explosionnetwork.com, or find us on other social media at ExplosionPod. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser. Leave us 5 stars, and you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. And if you've enjoyed this episode, thoughts of $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosionnetwork.com/supports. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.